Good afternoon, everybody. Got off work. Tired from last night. That was a good 3-hour session. It's too bad it was multiple videos. I think would have had a better audience had it all been combined. But nonetheless, it's important to reach as many as you can. And regardless of technology and how things happen, even though I'm right in the middle of the major city, I don't see how cell coverage is an issue, but I guess it is. So infrastructure's a problem in Ontario, especially in the Toronto area, Greater Toronto area. But I want to go through three critical topics today. One is on your federal politicians and elections. Two is UN General Assembly versus UNSC. This is where I divide from the PPC, Maxime Bernier, absolutely. And I will never ever share his narrative and what's propagated by that party. I can't. I'd be lying to every Canadian and every First Nations. No, I won't do it. I won't do it. Number three is for First Nations, actually, and it's tribal law. And I'm going to give you the breakdown of that, absolutely, which is what's commonly referred to worldwide in legal academics, natural law. Natural overlap customary law, unwritten law. UK had customary law. Canada has a lot of customary law. They use it so that they can prop up the first-class citizen, and none of you are any wiser to it. But we're going to go through that. So I've given you the three topics. Should I stray, you guys can let me know in messages. But I'm going to begin with this, and it's going to be on your gutless, low-life, degenerate federal political parties, none other than Conservative, Liberal, NDP. Those three. Bloc probably is bad too, but there's Section 37. Maverick, I see them out west propagating. The reality is this, everybody. There is an election period and a campaign period. It goes 6 months. You can actually campaign for a year, but when you start going for donations for elections, it is clearly written in law. Now, what these filthy, diseased, corrupt, lying, thieving politicians from all the parties don't follow the law, because a lot of the time they're elected into power and Prime Minister steals, so we all get to steal. And that's what they do. Outside of these 2-3 month terms where you're supposed to take donations for elections, the campaign period and the election period, only two. What happens is parties try to bolster with bullshit. They try to make you, the voter, the electorate, afraid. Oh, we don't have enough money. There's going to be an election next month. That's been going on, everybody. It's been going on absolutely month after month for as long as COVID's raged on. Every one of those filthy liars. Now, everybody listen to me. Go look at your elected MPs from every party. Unanimously and nearly 99.3%, literally 99.3%, meaning 1 out of 338 voted against it. They voted that they will not have an election federally, at least until the pandemic's in the rearview mirror. Does it feel like the pandemic's in the rearview mirror? But yet these same lying, thieving MPs who all clearly voted and passed by a huge majority, no early election call, while there's still a COVID-19 problem, which last time I checked, there's still lockdown restrictions, government bullshit to remove your freedoms, your rights. There are pigs at the trough loving every minute of it. And to put salt on the wound, these same filthy MPs who in majority, mass thieving, corrupt, lying, cheating majority, they're stealing your money, are telling you there's going to be an early election, even though they already passed the law in Parliament by a resounding massive majority, no early election federally. until COVID at least is in the rearview mirror. And I can tell you all, clear as day in Canadian history of politics, in no ruled pandemic, no ruled nothing, has there ever been an early election call. Never has been. Not once, not ever. Never. Somebody says, what's your deal? My deal is there's not going to be an early election call. Crazy traffic. So that's item number one. All the federal parties and all the MPs telling you to give them money for early election and get ready for the big election are all lying, cheating thieves. Conservative, liberal, NDP, the list goes on and on and on, absolutely 100% forever. They're liars, thieves, and cheats. I don't know why anyone hasn't figured this out. Go look at Parliament, they voted for it. Item number 2, UN General Assembly versus the United Nations Security Council. Been going on forever. The United Nations Security Council, specifically what's called the P5, the victorious allies of World War II, will not, I repeat, will never allow any form of NWO to ever scourge this earth. The General Assembly states 70% which are civil law socialist or full-on tyrant. Full-on tyrant. That's the UN General Assembly. 70% of the nations of 193 love full autocratic, dictatorial, complete kingdom monarchical power over oppression over people. This is most of the nations in the world today. Still, the UNSC P5 runs the world, and they fight year after year, day after day, constantly battling with 5 countries with 68% of the military might on Earth, as well as all the nuclear weapons on this Earth, specifically 2 nations. And that is absolutely Russia and USA. Russia even has more nuclear weapons than USA. Russia even has better space tech on destruction from outer space than USA, but USA's pretty close. Not that it matters. They can both pretty much destroy the entire world over. One can do it, I believe, 11 and a half times. The other one can do it 8 times. Either way, those numbers don't matter because they're both quite capable of destroying anybody, anytime, anywhere, any place. But nonetheless, those 5 countries have 68% of the military might. There was a comment made. One woman said, "Oh, that filthy Sir Winston Churchill. What do you mean this club's inclusive? You have to have a minimum military contribution of 5 million soldiers." Well, wake up, people. The world's got over 9 billion people in it. And USA and Russia together only account for less than 500 million of them. And they account for most of the military might in the world, meaning they transfer their GDP to peace and security, while everybody else is a freeloader. Let's be honest here. Not that the other 3 UNSC don't keep up theirs. They do. UK, China, and France most definitely do. But the reality is most do not, even NATO states. Canada has gone really rogue with that UN General Assembly. Big difference. Non-binding laws are your first glimpse of rogue UN state status. Canada loves to sign UN non-binding agreements. They've signed so many that in 2008, Stephen Harper had Canada thrown out for the first time in all those decades since the founding of the UNSC. Canada was removed from the UNSC for the first time ever in history since World War II. We were a founding designing member. As I showed you all yesterday, the Atlantic Charter, done none other than off the coast of Newfoundland, which I'm going to actually possibly be showing you guys that live, and it's going to blow you all away. It's going to blow you all away, and I can back it all up, but I don't want to give away too many details. But this is a lot of the narrative from PPC, which is alarming, and why I instantly diverged from PPC Maxime Bernier, who to me is just another filthy autocrat looking for his pig at the trough, and he would rather lie to Canadians about a mythical NWO outside of Canada, when absolutely Canada and the very same Privy Council autocrats, lifetime sworn crown powers, which is Maxime Bernier, they embrace NWO. They are rogue in the UN. Canada is one of the 70% now. I'm sorry, Canadians, First Nations, I'm sorry, but if you guys haven't figured this out by now, wake up. Why do you think there was an Indigenous genocide that's still occurring even today? Canadians, why do your rights and freedoms get taken, given by each and every political party? Why do you always have to fight for them? Why? Where are the enshrined rights? If you haven't figured this out, I don't know. Scary, scary stuff indeed. Wake up, people. This should be shared out everywhere. This explains everything. And if you're a sucker enough to follow PPC and believe that lying horseshit, you deserve what you get. You're just another radical alt-right person that's falling for absolutely a Justin Trudeau narrative. You might as well vote for Justin Trudeau. If you're going to vote for Maxime Bernier and PPC, might as well bend over and let Trudeau fill you up with all his good deeds. That's reality, sorry. Hate to say it like that, but it's 100% true. And I took an oath never to lie to First Nations, and I never lie to my Canadians. Never. Never. This is the truth. It's not about a popularity contest. It's about telling the truth. I'll never be a populist. I will always be a we the people, for the people, by the people. And that's what I do. If you don't like it, leave my friends list or following. Go back to the liars. But I promise you, at the end of the day, Trudeau, Maxime Bernier, Aaron O'Toole, Jagmeet Singh, it's all the same lie. The same perpetuation of a first-class system over all of you, what they call the suckers who don't even exist in the Constitution of Canada. The only ones cemented in the Constitution of Canada in any real meaningful way are the first-class politicians. That's it. If you haven't figured out Trudeau is the crown right now, and every elected premier is the crown, I don't know what else to tell you. I've provided everything in absolute proof. I just gave you the New Atlantic Charter by Boris Johnson and absolutely Joe Biden 3 weeks ago. Signed, sealed, certified. I gave you the original one in 1941. King George signed off. I gave you Boris Johnson and the entire House of Lords, and they've told you, they've published, Queen Elizabeth is forbidden from enacting any governmental powers whatsoever. She is a symbol of the nation. That's it. That's it. She does societal work. She's like an ex-president. That's it. She gets paid by nations to speak at societal events and everything else, but she is not in any way, shape, or form ever allowed to act as any chief executive or any power over government. Police who arrest you and say, I'm doing this in the name of Queen Elizabeth, is an idiot. An idiot. He doesn't even know what the hell he's doing. RCMP are guilty of it. Peace officers guilty of it. They don't know what they're doing. That's how sad the reality of a Nazi Germany colonial system we live in. That's reality. Sorry, everybody. The UN is not the enemy. Canada, a rogue General Assembly state, in 70% of the General Assembly, lowest tier of the UN, is the problem. And UNSC, number one tier of the UNSC, or of the United Nations, has to battle every day of the week. 5 nations do battle against that rogue NWO every day, all the time, starting from the worst. and they're trapped forever with the worst of the worst atrocious countries that China finally listed on UNSC. Canada was listed along with all the atrocious countries you all know. And in their stage, Canada's listed just 2 weeks ago today. Not good. Canadians, wake up, share, share, share. It's not a lie, it's the truth. Now, third and final point that was made clear to me in messages. Now it's on Twitter by some big First Nation groups. I got emails as well as a few of you on comments, okay? First Nations who believe that somehow we have to attach tribal law and we have to follow tribal law. No problem for First Nation regional groups who want to constitutionally make and create a tribal system. No problem. But you are forbidden, as are all Canadians, all governments across this entire world, from enacting any usurpage of human rights whatsoever. Your tribal laws, just as Canadian laws or anybody else's laws, do not trump what I call the 5 chiefs, the absolutely final say on human rights, the UNSCP 5. And they will not hesitate if you enact your own version through tribalism or any other governing form, and you say, we're going to select our own system of human rights, it's our culture, our ways, you will be executed. And if you don't believe me, I can line up tribal leader after tribal leader after tribal leader in many, many African nations, countries, country leaders, or regimes who took